Stampers. My name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who's awfully wiggly today. And he helps me in the craft room. For some of you that are following along, you've really adopted Puccini and everybody seems to enjoy seeing him. I put a couple of pictures up on my blog this week of him when he was 2 weeks old and when he was 4 weeks old, and I'm going to put up pictures I think once a week now on my blog showing the progress and some funny things that I've seen him do. I know that people come to my house and they say, "Hi, how are you? Where's the kitty?" So he seems to be much more popular than I am these days. In any case, I have a very fun card for you today using some of the material from the new catalog. It's so exciting. The catalog is live and I can show you, and they've got some absolutely stunningly beautiful things. And so I've got a card that's a birthday card, and it's a bit of a fun fold. And so let's just get started. Okay. I think you can see that. So this is the suite that I am using, Hues of Happiness, and you can order the suite, and the suite includes the bundle, so the stamp set and the dies, and then it also includes the paper and a glossy dots assortment, and I did use that today. And I'll show that to you. It's shown over here in this corner on the page. And so let me just show you what I did with that suite. And I had lots of fun with this card. There's my card. And so I've got this on a purple Gorgeous Grape base that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so it's just a quarter sheet of a piece of paper. And then I've got this piece of white here, and I'll show you how it opens. So the piece of designer series paper opens this way, and then the card opens this way and says, "Wishing you all the happiness you can imagine." And then I use some of the material from the stamp set there on that one. So let me show you. And then this closes this way, and this flap of paper tucks underneath the flowers. And that's my card for today. So let me start by showing you, this is the stamp and the die set, and I used "Wishing you all the happiness you can imagine" and this "Happy Birthday." I just love these fonts with those little curlicues on the end. We had some of that a long time ago, and it's just really pretty. And these are the two little stamps that I used out of the stamp set, because what I did was I used this absolutely gorgeous pack of paper, and it's called Hues of Happiness, and it's got all kinds of colors in it. And I used, I'm going to bring this out so you can see it, this piece of paper here, because these dies not only cut out the stamped material, but they cut out several of these different kinds of flowers on these pages. And there is a set in the paper of that color and another bunch of paper like this that cuts out the other colors. And you can use the dies. Sometimes for me it's just as easy to fussy cut than it is to use the dies. The papers in this are just lovely. There's so many pretty ones. This is what it takes to make the card. There's the base, which is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I used a white base, and this base is 8 inches by 5 1/4, so that it sits right here on this piece here. Then to save paper, I used a piece of 4 inch by 4 inch paper so that I could put it under here and get it to close over this, and then we'll just trim off the top and the bottom. And there we've got our flap without using a whole bunch of that pretty designer series paper. And then you need a piece of scrap. You need some of that designer series paper to cut out the flowers. In this one I decided to do a purple and a pink. And then I cut out some of the leaves here to put around our flowers on the front. And then I also cut two using the dies of these same flowers. And I did that specifically because this is just designer series paper, so it's a little on the thin side. And I wanted this to be very secure on this closure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to glue these two pieces together. And this one's going to have a little purple edging, which I'm going to allow to show, which I think makes it a little bit more fun. And then a purple one for this one, and we'll make those so that they're very sturdy for holding down this flap. And so that's all there is to it. Now on the stamp set I did also use this pretty happy birthday, the wishing you all the happiness you can imagine, and then the two little flowers. Okay, so let's just get going here. So the first thing we have to do is to get this piece of paper adhered to our card so that we can have this piece in the back hidden. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add some seal, to this piece of paper. See, I want this with a little bit of yellow showing. So I'm going to just get my seal going here. So I need to put my seal on this side. So I'm going to add seal to that flap. And then I'm going to tuck this piece right into that corner so that it will come down here. And then I'm just going to use my snips to just snip that corner off on that side and snip that corner off on that side. And there is our piece that's going to fold over the front just like that. So that's how I got this to be like this. Now you can slide it back a little bit so that it's right on the edge like this one, but I think that's fine that it comes over just a little bit. I think it'll be more secure on the card anyway. So now this piece is ready to have some adhesive added to it and get this put down on the back of the card base here. So now I'm going to adhere this to this and try to get that centered on this piece of purple. So it really is a pretty easy card to do, especially once you've got your die cut pieces or your fussy cut pieces all done. So there we go. That's how that's going to fold over. And what I'm going to do is use my bone folder and give this a little extra crease. And then I'm going to do the same here to give that a little extra crease so the card stays nice and folded. And there we go. All right. Next, I'm going to do my stamping. Actually, I probably should have done the happy birthday here before I got that far. And so what I'm going to do to hold this in place is I am just going to add a tiny bit of snail to the inside of my card so that'll stay down flat. And then I've got my stamps here, and I've got my happy birthday, and I did this with the Gorgeous Grape ink. So I've got my Gorgeous Grape ink. If I put this right here, kind of all the way over, stamp down my happy birthday, and there we go, got away with it. Very good. All right, and that's going to not interfere with that closing of the card. So The next thing I'm going to do is do my stamping on the inside of the card. I'm going to need to take off that little bit of glue I used to hold it closed. Gum erasers save your life. All right, and now I've got my stamp that says, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. And I'm going to put that, in fact, maybe on this one, I'm going to put that kind of in the middle. And get that stamped down. Give it a second for that ink to sink in. And there we go. Oh, I got a little smudge. So I'll use my sand eraser to scrub that little smudge off. There we go. All right, then the next thing I did was I used gray granite. And I did my little flowers, this little flower set, and I did this, and I'll show you, this is a piece of scratch paper here, and I stamped it on the gray granite, and then I stamped once, and then I stamped again. So stamping off once gives me a very faint image, and then I can use my, like I did here, I used my markers to color in the flowers and the stems. And so I could get all the colors I wanted in there, and it's called no line coloring. Practice as many times as you need to, then just barely tap down, stamp off once, and then over to my card, and I'm going to stamp one set of flowers on one side, and then I'm going to stamp off again, stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp this one on this side. There we go, and you can see it's on there. It's very faint, a little darker on one side than the other. That's all just fine. The marker colors are nice and dark, and so it will, it'll be just fine. So what I did was I used my Daffodil Delight, my Granny Apple Green, and my Gorgeous Grape marker, using the thick side for the flowers here, and I just outlined the petals and then filled them in, and it makes you look like you're quite an artist to get all of that stuff filled in. And on the first one I colored up some of the centers, and on this one I'm going to use the little bit of yellow to cover the centers on all of the flowers. I just did it on a few on that first one. And there's nothing spectacular about this coloring. Just get it close, and the gray granite is so light that if you kind of get close to the edges there, you can't see the edges at all. There is our stamping all done and coloring all done, and that inside is all ready to go. All right, so now we're back to the outside of the card. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is marry these two pieces together. And there's a place on this rose where there's a little point. I'll show it to you right there. And if you match up those points, you'll get this perfectly matched. And I'm going to actually move it down so that it has that little purple covering there and showing on the outside, which I think adds a little bit of interest. So now I'll go back to my little point and get that all lined up, move it down just a hair so I've got a shadow on that side of the purple on the outside. Same thing with this one. I'm going to, oh, so sorry, I missed a little bit of video there. So what I did was I adhered the fussy cut out or die cut rose to the piece of purple, and you can see I left a little edge, and then I left a little edge on this pink one, and I did it in purple also, and I put my dimensionals right in the center so that when we close this, it'll go right under those two flowers and close. All right, now then, it's just a matter of putting some of these leaves around in some of the places, and I kind of like this one curled under here, and then I cut enough so that I could put leaves in several different places on these flowers. And I liked one over here as well, and that one is a little long, so I'm cutting that one off a bit so that it'll tuck under there a little bit better. But that's kind of where I want those. So I will use my silicone mat to get those with a little bit of snail on them and get that one put in place there. Oops, I'm going to have to move that just a little bit. I don't want it to go off the card. I have to just tuck it in just so that the leaves still show. All right, and this one, same thing. Now I'm putting these down flat. I could raise some of these on dimensionals as well. In fact, maybe I will on that one. It's got sticky on it, but I think if I put a dimensional on it, it'll still be just fine. So I'm going to put a dimensional right in the middle of that one, and that way it'll be more up to the level of the flowers on that one and give a little more dimension. And on these two, I think I'm just going to put some snail and lay them down flat on the card, or at least one of them. Let's see if I got some minis. I do. I think I'm going to raise this one up. And I've got a couple of mini dimensionals here. I can put one in the middle of that. And then I've got a little half a dimensional right here along the edge for this leaf. And then I can put those in place. Right up here on the flower, and there we go. Isn't that pretty? Now what I have left are these, and this is what you get when you order that collection. You get the paper, and you get the dies, and you get the stamp set, and then you get a package of these glossy dot assortments. And look at this purple. How long has it been since we've had a real pretty purple? So what I did was I put the largest one in the center of this flower, and that dress it up. And then on this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a medium-sized purple one right here in the center of that flower. Isn't that pretty? And then I put a few others of these small ones around on the card. And you can see that I used an odd number. I put one here around this sentiment, but I'm going to put it on this side for this one. And then just tuck two more, one right in here, and another one right down here. And there we go. There is our card. And isn't that fun? So that is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. During the month of May, there's a special offer to join Stampin' Up! That is the normal $125 worth of product for $99. And through May, you get an additional $66.50 worth of some of the new in-color supplies. You get cardstock, you get ink pads. You get some of the designer series paper, and I think you get grid paper that is with the in colors. And so it's a really, really good offer. I think it makes it worth about I want to say $90 worth of stuff for your $99 join. So I think that's pretty exciting. And let's see, my prize draw for the month is always a $60 shopping spree on me. And all you need to put yourself in the drawing is to place an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net. And you can get to it through my blog, www.inkandingenuity.com. Go on and check out the blog. Like I said, I put up a couple of pictures of Puccini up when he was 2 weeks and 4 weeks old, and I'll be following up with some contemporary pictures every week. So thanks so much again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with more tips, more cards, and more projects. Bye!